Guys, this is Lindsay with LiveJoy Photography, and today I'm going to be showing you a little bit about what my new Actions for Newborns does. I'm so excited about these. I've been working on them for a little over a year, and they've been a long time coming, so we've been working really hard on them, and I finally have them ready for you guys, and I cannot wait for you to start using them. I really think they're going to help out your workflow and create the images that you really want. So let's just take a quick peek over here at some of the actions that are included. I have you start out with a base edit, and you can use any of these here. That will give you a nice clean beginning base edit before we start working on the skin, etc. So we're going to scroll down. Here's some of your skin edits, your reds, yellows, purples, oranges, and then apply all. Your skin finals. We're not going to go through all of them today, just there's so many of them, but I just want to kind of give you a glance at what's going to be included. Your paint on adjustments, light, dark, sharp, blur, detail. And then we'll come down to our artistic enhancements. And I just love these. A lot of these you can use. I have the colors here, but you can really use on a bunch of different colors as well. So they're a little more universal, but this will give you an idea of where to start at. So, and then we have our color vignettes. I do vignettes on pretty much every image that I have, and I just paint it off baby. So I have some instructions here that recommend that you paint off all the vignettes off of the baby. And then some final actions as well, and I won't be talking about it today, but I am including some bonus outdoor actions in addition, and I'm super excited about those, and I think you'll love them. So let's go ahead and just edit a few images. I have this one, and then I have this little sweet little girl, this little guy, and then this little guy. And I wanted to show you guys 4 different babies so you could see how my actions work on different skin tones and different babies as well, and to give you a little bit better idea. So we're going to go ahead and run on her. We're going to do deep detail soften. So go ahead and select it and hit play. And we'll let this run, and you can really see how just one action helps tremendously. This is straight out of camera, so here we go. And there's we'll do a little before and after so you can see how that works. So let my computer catch up here for a second. Okay, and then we're going to do, there's your before. Oh, I must have ran it twice. So let's go ahead and delete one of those here. There we go. Okay, so there's your before, and there's your after. Before and after. And it's a little bright right here, so I'm just going to pull it down just a hair. Perfect, just right there. So now after you run your base edit, you want to go ahead and flatten your image. So we'll go ahead and flatten it. And then we'll run some of our skin edits. And really for her skin was so beautiful. We didn't really need to do a whole lot. So I think I'll just run the reds be gone. And then I might also run the purple toes and fingers right here on her hand. So we'll go ahead and run that one as well. So first of all, we'll select our reds be gone. I will put my brush to white, and then opacity right around probably 60%. And then you'll see how it kind of just pulls all the reds out. And my favorite thing about this red removal is that it doesn't add any greens. A lot of times with some red removals, it adds too much, in my opinion, too much green. And then you're kind of left with a green baby, and you don't want that. So you can see here's your before and after, before and after. And it's a little bit much, so I'm going to pull it down just a hair. Okay, and then we're going to do the purples and blues, and she just has a hint of purple and blues right here. And then a lot of times you'll see right around their noses. I'm going to adjust my brush here to 40% and do right around the eyes and the nose, and you can see here a pretty big difference before and after. And you wouldn't normally see it was there, but once you do it, you're like, oh yeah, definitely. And let's pull that down just a hair. Okay, and then all we need to do for her, we're going to run baby new skin and pink cheeks. There we go, and we'll start with baby new skin, and I always start with my brush at 100% opacity, and then I will come over here and move the opacity down on the entire layer until it looks correct. But this is just so I can see where I'm putting it. And really you want to just paint right on their big skin areas, right in the nose, forehead, cheeks. You want to stay away from the eyes, lips, and nose. So just right on the big skin areas here, just like this. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to show you guys a little before and after as well so you can see. So there's your before and there's your after. Before and after. And then you can tone it down from there. So right about 79%. Perfect. And we'll do pink cheeks. I'm going to set my opacity at 100% and do the cheek closest to the light first. And then I'll set my brush to 50% and do the other side. And that is because the darker side will pick up more color than the side with the brightness. And then I will pull my opacity down to about 20%. I like to have it pretty high up to begin with so I can see where I'm putting it on the cheeks, and then I move it down. So we'll go ahead and flatten that. Come over to our actions, and we're going to, I don't need to paint on any adjustments or sharpen or anything like that, so we're going to go straight down to artistic enhancements. And for her, we could really do quite a few different ones, but we're going to go ahead to save time. We'll just go ahead and do the Peaceful Dreams, pinks and purples. And you'll see that this adds just a beautiful color of pink. I'm going to go ahead and pull the opacity down. I have them up pretty high because I want you to see what they're doing. And then you could adjust the opacity on the layer to what you like. And I'm going to pull it off her skin just a hair. We'll take it 50% off the skin just so it doesn't add too much pink to her color. And then you can see the before and after. Before and after. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and flatten that. You probably don't need to flatten all the time, but I just have a habit of doing that. And then we'll do Dusty Rose vignette for her. And then, of course, with all your vignettes, you really want to make sure your opacity is set to 100% and that you paint off any of the colors, a soft brush, and just paint it off, baby. And I sometimes will leave it about 50% back here, so I'll make my brush a little bit bigger, set my opacity to around 50%, and then we'll do some of this background right here and get that cleaned up. And then I'll probably do a little bit here in the foreground as well. And there we go. That's pretty much it. So once that's done here, we're going to go ahead and flatten. And this is one of my favorite finishing actions. It's called Spotlight, and it just adds a little more emphasis on baby, and then I'll usually tone that down quite a bit. So there we go, right about there. There's your before and after, and that's just personal preference, but I do like having a little bit more focus on baby. So I'm going to flatten it, and we'll see a final here edit, so we can go up and see your start, and then there's your final. So start, and there's final after all of our actions. So perfect. So let's go ahead and go on to the next one here. This sweet little lady was so cute, and really you can kind of see just a little bit of hint of yellow in her skin, as well as maybe a little bit of red. Not too much, but we'll go ahead and start here. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to run, let's go ahead, we did deep detail soften, so we'll do pure clean edit on hers. And really these are just personal preference and what you like, so each image might, you can play around with them and see which one works best on your image. I really do a lot of the deep detail soften as well as the pure clean edit and studio light. I use a lot of those. So here we go. Here's our before, and there's after, just our first action. So pretty big difference there. I'm going to pull that down just a hair. All right, and go ahead and flatten it. And now for this little lady, we're going to do yellow jaundice remover and a red be gone. And I don't, like I said, I don't think she's got too much reds, but we'll take some of the yellow toneness down, especially on this side of her face. So let's start with that. I'm going to get a smaller brush here at 50% opacity, and we'll just, we'll switch our brush to white, and then you can see here how it just pulls out the yellow out of her skin, which is perfect, just like that. And we're going to switch over to the red and keep it at 50%. She did have a little bit of red there, not a whole lot, but we'll go ahead and do that. And then actually I'm going to go ahead and run the purple fingers right here on hers, and you can actually see quite a bit and how that really helps. I have that at 70% opacity right here, and I'm going to move it to 40%. Do a little bit around her eyes and under her nose like we talked about. And then there's your before and after with just the remove purple toes and fingers action, which is awesome. So we're going to go ahead and flatten that. All right, and then we're going to run baby new skin, of course, as always, and we'll run pink cheeks. And we'll also, I'm going to show you guys this paint on detail, which I really love this one. It adds a lot of detail to, like, sometimes hair bows or hair or little lips, eyes. You can add details wherever you like to see that. So we'll run that one as well, and I'll show you guys. But first we're gonna do the baby new skin. So I have it set to 100% opacity so we can see where we're putting it. And I'm just gonna start right on her cheeks, right on her forehead. See how it gets rid of kind of little frown lines as well, which I love. Right here, here. Not much, doesn't take much. And then we're gonna show you before and after, before and after. Obviously that's a little bit too much, so we'll pull it down. We'll give her her little pink cheeks, 100% opacity and 50% on this side, and then lower it down to 20%. And then this is where I want to show you guys the paint on detail, and I'm going to run this at 100% just so you can see what it does. And you can see how it brings so much sharpness and detail to the image, especially on her hair, things like that. You could even do 50% on her lips, right on the nose, you know, just anything you want to bring attention to. And there you can see before and after. Obviously that's way too much, so we'll pull this down to about half of that. But it just adds that little extra oomph. Perfect, so we'll go ahead and flatten that. And this one you could really do a bunch of different enhancements on this. You could do Toasty Warm, Morning Snuggles. We'll just go ahead and play them so you can see. We're gonna end up doing Toasty Warm on this one. So there's Toasty Warm, here's Morning Snuggles, would be really sweet as well. And then we could also do the Yellow Smashed Bananas, Yellows and Creams. But we're gonna go ahead and do Toasty Warm, so we'll do this one. And really with any of these artistic enhancements, you wanna check what it does to their skin and hair, depending on the baby. On her, since she has such dark hair, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the toast from her hair. And that way you can see, because it adds just a hint of purple, so we're gonna go ahead and remove that, and maybe 5% off her face right here. There we go, perfect. Go ahead and flatten that. And then I'll show you guys this one. I'm probably going to use Sweet Mint Vignette on her because it's so cute. All right, 100%. And then like usual, we'll paint off the vignette off the baby and then do about 50% off the rest of the image. And again, that's just personal preference, but for me, I like to pull it off just a little more so I can still see the details in the blankets as well. So we'll go ahead and alrighty, perfect. We'll go ahead and flatten that. I'm going to show you guys before and after. So here's our final. And then we're going to do start. And there's your final. So quite a huge difference. And just by doing a few little actions, you can have just beautiful images, start and final. All right, so this little guy, if you zoom in, you can kind of see he has a little bit of bumps, as well as some of those little white bumps that a lot of newborns get. And so I'm going to show you some of the actions that can help with that. We're going to zoom out here, and again, let's go ahead and start with our base edit. We'll do a pure clean edit for him. We could really have done any of those here, but that's a good one to start out with. And perfect. We'll just pull down the opacity just a hair. Okay, so we'll go ahead and flatten that. And he's got just a little bit of yellows and some reds in his skin, so we're going to play both of those. I don't think we need to run the purples, toes, and fingers, but we'll go ahead and run these two here. So yellow, mostly on this side of his face, so we'll run that at 50% opacity. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but it really just takes out the yellow part of his skin. All right, and red's here, so we're gonna paint this on, pull the reds out. Perfect. So maybe out of his little fingers here. And I think I will go ahead and run the purple toes and fingers. He's got some blue underneath his nose right here too. So we'll run this at 60% opacity, and so you guys can see what it does here. I just love it. So a lot of times newborns have that blue right under their nose right there. So it's a really good idea to run that and hit those little spots. Okay, so we're going to flatten it. We're going to run down, and I want to show you guys a couple different ones that we've normally been doing. So this is Erase Baby Zits. And then we're also going to run one of these white bumps soften. I'm going to do both of them so you can see the difference between them. But first of all, let's go ahead and grab some of these little zits here, run it at about a 70%. And I'm just clicking, so I'm just clicking right on those little spots, some on his forehead here. And again, I don't always do this to every image. It just depends on how close up and where my light's at and if they're noticeable or not. So here we go. Here's just some on his cheeks. Okay, I'll go ahead and flatten that right there. Well, I'll go ahead and back those up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flatten. I just see just a little hair right here. So we'll go ahead and just use our healing brush just to snag those. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and run our white bumps, and I'm going to run both of them so you can kind of see. It depends on your image. One of them will probably work more so than the other one, so if one doesn't work, try the other one. And then we'll kind of zoom in here so you can see a little bit better. All right, I'm going to set this at 100% opacity, and you can see how it just pulls them right out, and I just love this. It's going to work on these little ones here, right under the nose especially. And it's not really doing a whole lot for these ones up here, so that's what we'll probably run this one for. So go ahead and back up a little bit. And run that one. Run that 100% opacity. Oh, and here we go. We need to put that above. There we go. And the reason I moved this one above is so that it doesn't overtake that one. And you can see that one's really strong, so we're going to tone that down for sure. But just to give you guys an idea of what it does. All right, pull that down. Now, as you're about this far away, you can see a little bit more too. And I'm going to do a before and after. So there's your before, and there's your after. And again, it doesn't completely remove everything, but after we do the baby new skin, it's going to look pretty perfect. We'll zoom in here so you can see before and, sorry, after, before, after. Okay, so we'll go ahead and flatten that. Zoom out here, we'll run baby new skin and peak cheeks as usual, my go-tos. Put my brush at 100%, go ahead and paint this eye right on the cheeks, forehead, nose, right under there, chin, perfect. And I'll run that down to about 75%. Peak cheeks, run this, whoops, that's just to show my overlay, cancel out of there. 100%, and then we'll show this, and then 5% right on that side. And again, I'll lower those down, 20%. Okay. So now what we can do is we can do probably I'm going to go ahead and do cocoa bean, which is my browns. And I love this one. It's so beautiful. And then I'm also going to run a little bit of this drama because I want to bring back some of the darks and the shadows. So we'll do this. And obviously that's way, way, way too much. So we're going to pull that way down, probably about 20%. And you can see the before and after. Maybe bump it up a little bit more. There we go, 30% before and after. Perfect. And then I'm just going to go ahead and run my vignette, which will do medium brown, which is my go-to for wood floors. And we'll just paint it off baby. And then do 50% on the edges. Paint it off so it's still there, but just not as strong. Let my computer catch up here. Perfect. Okay, so now you can see there's your before and after. All right, so let's go ahead and show you guys the final in comparison. Oops, I always do that. Let's go to history. Let me do final here. Okay, yes. Alrighty, so we're gonna do a start, and then there's our final. And we'll zoom in so you can see a skin, start, and final. Pretty perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and go to our last image here. And this little sweetheart was so cute. He has just some reds and some yellows. So if you can see, a lot of babies have yellow right here and a combination of yellow and red. So I'm going to show you guys how to take care of those. And it's using a lot of the same ones that we've used. For this one, because he's got some white in here, I'm going to run Studio Light. And you'll see it just gives the whites, pulls out a lot of the yellows and tones like that you maybe don't want in your images. So Studio Light is a great way to get really good, clean, bright base. So I like to use it on my whites. Okay, well, this one takes the longest out of all of my edits, my base edits. This one takes a little bit longer, but it's usually worth it. So just hang in there while it runs. Alrighty, so that's quite a bit of difference just in that one action. You can see there's your before and there's your after. before and after. And we're going to go ahead and flatten it. Even right now, this is already much more beautiful. So we're going to run reds, and we're going to also run the yellow jaundice remover. So we'll run both of those. All right, and I'm going to put this at 60% here with my white brush and paint on some of those little yellow spots, just like that. And then we'll do the same here. I'll put at 50% my reds. There we go. And you can see this has a little bit, has a little bit of blue to it, so we're going to go ahead and remove blue, or the purple. So I'll put it at 40%. And you can see just right under his nose and chin and right on the side of the face. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now let's go down here. We'll run our baby new skin, pink cheeks, and I also want to show you guys with this skin mid-tone bump. It's one of my favorite ones to do. It really just pulls out the mid-tones and it keeps your darks and your lights normal, but it really just gives a good pop to the skin. So I'll show you guys here. I'm just going to put it right on this shadow side, maybe a little bit right on his cheek, and you can see the before and after, and see how it just brings that light in. Okay, so we're going to run baby new skin 100% as always. Pull that in, try and stay away from his nose here. And then right over the eyes, smooth that out, this cheek right here, a little bit on his chin. We'll pull this down, 70-ish%. Peak cheeks, pop those on, 50% on this side, 100% on this side. And I'm also going to add just a little bit to his lips, so we're going to do it 50% right here. Okay, now pull that down to where you like it, right about there. Good. And this one we can do a couple different ones. We're going to end up doing whipped cream, but we could do both that or whipped or milky pure white. So let's do whipped cream first so you can see the difference between this one's just so beautiful. I love this. So how creamy it is. There's your before and after, and then I'm going to show you guys milky pure white as well. And this one is it just cleans up your white so beautifully. I would probably paint it off his hair just because it has a little bit of a blue tint to it to get your whites nice and bright. But we're going to go ahead and use whipped cream on him on this one. So we'll do that. And this one I don't need to paint off because it looks great on his skin. We'll just do a cream vignette. And that one, of course, I will paint off his hair right here and his face. But other than that, I think that looks great. So we'll go ahead and flatten that. And we're going to run down here and just add spotlight because I love how it brings attention to their little faces. So going to flatten that one, and then we'll get a new snapshot here, and I'll show you guys the before and after. So there's your beginning, and there's your final. Pretty huge difference, and not a lot of time, just really quick edits, and every baby's so different. So again, there's our pink images. There's your final, there's your start, final. And then this sweet little girl, there's your start and your final. And then here we have our start and final. And of course this little guy, start and final. So that is it, you guys. I have had such a great time putting these together for you. I really hope they make your workflow so much easier. I cannot wait to see what you guys do with them. So go ahead and tag me in your images so that I can see what you're doing with my actions. I would love to see them. You can hashtag LiveJoy Photography, tag my page on Facebook, however you'd like to do that. But I'd love to take a look and see what you guys are creating. So thanks so much, and I will be around. If you have any questions at all, feel free to send me a message or comment, and I'll get back to you. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you enjoy. Bye.